So picking up where we just finished off, where Leopold is again kind of challenging our conception of self, challenging our place in the environment, he's making the claim to say that um, the role of Homo sapiens, we need to be kind of, again, we need to shape it differently from conqueror to member and citizen of the land community. And so then he kind of like goes a couple pages, and I'm not going to kind of like dive in here because he starts to talk about economic relationships to the land, which of course, I think is a very lively conversation. But just for the sake of kind of like moving along here, I want to get to what he offers us with the land pyramid. And so again, like think about the way that he just defined the land. The land is soils, waters, plants, and animals are collectively the land. So this isn't, again, just a plot of dirt. This isn't just a plot of earth, but it's everything comprised within it. And so we have this focus on like the land pyramid. An ethic to supplement and guide the economic relation to the land presupposes the existence of some mental image of land as a biotic mechanism. We can be ethical only in relation to something we can see, feel, understand, love, or otherwise have faith in. Okay? The image commonly employed in conservation is the balance of nature. For reasons too lengthy to detail here, this figure of speech fails to describe accurately what we know about the land mechanism. A much truer image, Leopold says, is the one employed in ecology, the land or biotic pyramid. And so this is what he's going to offer us, is a focus on the biotic pyramid, right? Where, and again, some of you are probably going to be really familiar with this, but again, how Leopold is really trying to get us to think is this collectivity of all of us, right? And when I say all of us, I don't just mean all of us human beings, but I'm thinking that like everything is built in and around this pyramid. Okay? And so this is where and how Leopold talks about this. He says plants absorb energy from the sun. The energy flows through a circuit called the biota, which may be represented by a pyramid consisting of layers. The bottom layer is the soil. The plant layer rests upon the soil, the insect layer on the plants, bird and rodent layer upon the insect one, and so the various kind of animal groups all the way up to the apex layer, which consists of larger carnivores. The lines of dependency for food and other services are called food chains. Again, we're very familiar with this. But again, as we kind of like think about this, each species, including ourselves, is a link in many chains. Okay? The deer eats 100 plants other than the oak, and the cow 100 plants other than corn. Both then are links in 100 chains. The pyramid is a tangle of chains so complex it may seem disorderly. Yet the stability of system proves it to be highly organized structure. Its functioning depends on the cooperation and competition of its diverse parts. Okay? And so again, and I'm sure that many of you are familiar with the way that this works conceptually, but notice here, right, that a lot of us probably live our daily lives just kind of going about our business, not really thinking about the connectiveness, the connectivity that we experience even with the smallest insect, right? But maybe it's worthy of consideration. Maybe it's worthy to kind of think about how we're connected to that tree, how we're connected to kind of everything that allows us to kind of live and survive and thrive the way that we often do. Land, then, is not merely soil. It is a fountain of energy flowing through a circuit of soils, plants, and animals. Food chains are living channels which conduct energy upward. Death and decay return to the soil. The circuit is not closed. Some energy is dissipated in decay. Some is added by absorption from the air, etc. Okay? And we get this kind of like thumbnail sketch on the bottom of 451 here, where he says, the thumbnail sketch of the land as an energy circuit conveys three basic ideas: that the land is not merely soil, it's comprised of everything. The native plants and animals kept the energy circuit open, others can or cannot. And then, right, the human made changes are of a different order than evolutionary changes and have effects more comprehensive than is often intended to foresee. And so what we get here is, again, this kind of shaping, this kind of reframing here, where, again, kind of like putting ourselves as part of the process, as part of the system of kind of, as part of the system here, okay? And so the outlook on 455 is where Leopold says a thing is right when we think about kind of moral rightness and wrongness. A thing is right as it tends to preserve the integrity, stability, and beauty of the biotic community, of everything that we just talked about. It is wrong when it tends to do otherwise. And so when we think about those environmental decisions that we're making, or not making for that matter, we can think about that in terms of are we doing those things that seem to promote and perpetuate the health of the entirety of the system? And that's just one outlook in the terms of environmental philosophy. There's a lot of differing approaches, a lot of differing outlooks, but I think a nice place to start is there with Leopold. So again, it's too bad we can't have these conversations in class, because I know that I'm sure that we would engage and kind of have a lot of lively discussion here. But I hope that this gets you at least enough interested in the subject. And again, I encourage you of thinking about yourself as a member of the biotic community rather than a ruler of it, and see if maybe some of your decisions change. And that's a pretty powerful way to potentially start in thinking about one's relationship to the environment. Cheers.